Welcome back to my garage. I have a rather complicated task ahead of me today. I need to check, adjust or replace, if it's necessary, the ball bearings of steering stem. It's not easy job to do because there is quite a lot of things to remove. And because it's a Kawasaki Versys 1000 SE with electronic suspension, we have some wiring going out of the front forks, so that makes everything a bit more complicated. I did the service before I went to UK, Scotland and Wales, but Versys is very good at hiding things. And I did check if there is any play in the steering stem, and I didn't feel anything, and the bike was behaving absolutely normal. There was not even one sign that there is something wrong. The problems started when I fully loaded my bike and I went to UK. Then I discovered that with all the luggage, with all the heavy stuff, bike starts behaving pretty weird in the corners. By braking and accelerating, I heard a small knock coming out of somewhere out the front. So probably my steering stem is loose on the bearings, and that's why it was making these noises, and the bike in the corners is not stable and it's diving in the corners. So all these symptoms indicating that there is too much play on the bearings, and it might be that they are damaged, because I didn't want to fix the problem on the road because the bike was heavy and I didn't have much time. I just want to travel. I could ride bike normally, it was just a bit inconvenient. So I just continued my trip, but I did 4,000 kilometers with that play, and that might damage the bearings completely. So I need to check first if there is any damage on bearing guides. So these round things that's sitting on the steering stem. If there is no damage, it's just adjusting the play and I'll be fine. If there is a damage, then I will need to replace the bearings, and that means quite a lot of work with that. But before I spend money for new bearings, I just want to check if these ones can be adjusted, because that would be the easiest way and of course the cheapest way. So let's keep fingers crossed that they are not damaged. I don't have a service manual for Kawasaki Versys SE. However, I have a service manual from previous model, second generation. Theoretically, construction of the steering stem is exactly the same. Fairing is of course different, but we're gonna remove fairing anyway, so that's not important. But the biggest difference is of course the electronic suspension. And I have here two wires that are going somewhere. I don't know where exactly, so I will need to figure out that first. And if I will have to replace the bearings, then I need to remove the forks. So that is a bit of a challenge, but of course I'm not afraid. I'm gonna do it no matter what. To check and adjust, if it's necessary, the ball bearings, it's not very difficult. All what I have to do is to remove the handlebar and the top bracket from the shocks. And there is a bolt where I can loosen up and check the bearings. If they are damaged, then I will have to remove a wheel and the shocks and the brakes and everything. But of course it is doable with the fairing on. So you don't have to remove all of that. However, I will remove that because I have other jobs to do on a bike which require to removing the front fairing. I have some wiring to do. So I'm just gonna remove all the front fairings and I will do my wiring, and at the same time I'm gonna check, adjust, and if it's necessary replace the ball bearings. It sounds very complicated and unnecessary, but I just need to do other jobs. And when all the fairing is gone, everything will be very nicely visible, and this way I can show you exactly where are all the bolts and what you need to do to adjust or replace your steering stem bearings. Well, there's a lot of work ahead of me, so let's get started. So I'm not gonna show you the removing all those parts because there is a video how to undress Kawasaki Versys 1000 SE. If you want to know how to remove those things, just go watch this video. I'm gonna put a link somewhere on the screen if you haven't seen it yet. And I'm just gonna do that very quickly so you don't have to watch it. Before I start stripping the bike, I'm gonna check again if I can detect any play in a steering stem. The last time I did it, I couldn't find anything wrong with it. So let's see if this time I can find anything wrong with ball bearings. So I don't hear any strange noises here. I don't feel any rattling on the bearings, which would suggest that the bearing guides are damaged. Everything is working flawlessly here. I don't have any movement this way. Yeah, the sound you hear now is it's my jack, it's not suspension. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong here, but the way bike behaved tells me something absolutely different. Well, I hear some noise coming from the fairing when I do that. And I feel it as well on the handlebars. Well, I must say it doesn't really feel like this is the bearing problem. I have some noise when I push the front of the bike very hard and then I pull it back, then it's a little bit knock, knock, knock sound. I'm guessing it's from the bearings, but it can be something else. So I will have to really investigate if that really are the bearings. I'm gonna remove everything and I'm gonna inspect everything thoroughly. I want to find this problem because it is something is wrong here. I think the ball bearings, but it might be something else. Okay, let's strip the bike. I don't know if you will believe me, but this really is my Versys 1000 SE. And you probably wondering as well, why the hell have I stripped a whole bike just to check the steering stem ball bearings? You must be thinking I'm crazy. Well, I am a little bit crazy, but that's not the reason. I mentioned earlier that I'm gonna do other stuff on the bike. I actually gonna do a full service plus some extra wiring for the accessories, which probably next year I'll be removing, so I'll be stripping the bike again. So yeah, you're right, I am a bit crazy. But this video is not about that. This video is about ball bearings. I have never did that job. I've never done steering stem ball bearings, at least not in a Versys. I did it in my Honda when I was restoring the bike. Bike was in pieces and I did change the ball bearings there. So I don't have any experience. It's gonna be my first time. Just remember that. I have service manual for previous generation. Theoretically, the construction of this third generation is exactly the same with maybe small changes, but the construction of steering is exactly the same. The only difference is that I have these wires from electronic suspension. But I already checked that, and they have connectors. One is this side, the other one is on the other side. So if I have to remove the forks, I just can disconnect, pull the wires out and remove the forks. But before I do any of that, I'm gonna first check if there is anything wrong with the ball bearings. So I really need to check this. And I think I'm gonna change grease in the ball bearings. So probably I will remove the forks. We'll see, I will think about it. Anyways, I have some kind of service manual, but I'm a MotoAndy and I'm a bit a sick puppy and I like to do things my way. So I won't be following in 100% the service manual. So let me show you what I'm gonna do. This is my handlebar, of course. I need to remove the handlebars with this bracket. So my handlebar is here now, and I will have probably more place to do what I need to do. So let's try. Oh yes. Okay, ladies and gents, here comes nothing. I will probably need the big guns for that. Well, I hope I won't break anything. Here we go. All what you need is 1 meter of pipe. A big bolt with a big washer. So theoretically right now, all what I need to do is to loosen these bolts, one here, one on the other side. And theoretically this whole big bracket, so steering stem top head it's called. Let me see. Steering stem head. So the steering stem head should jump out over here. And underneath we have 2 nuts that are keeping the steering stem. Okay, let's loosen these bolts. I don't know if it's enough just loosen or they have to go. No, they don't have to go. They just need to be loose. Here we go. Now I just need to be careful with the wires that are coming out of the forks. And here we go. Let me grab the camera. So we have these wires that are coming from the forks, and they going, one is here Another is here, it's a blue connector. These are two nuts that are keeping our steering stem, and I see they loose. Look, at least the top one is loose. I don't know if that's important or not. So now guys, it will get interesting. So as you can see, we have here two big nuts, and between them there is a washer which is bent into these grooves. Here you can see, I hope you can see in this camera, there's a black small washer. Here is nothing, and on the other side is bent as well. Not like that. Okay, I did bend it wrong way. Yeah, I fucked up this one a little bit. Okay, so I need something sharp to do that. Yeah, here we go. Come on. So that's the one. Now I need to do it on the other side the same. I can bend just like that. I hope you can see it on the camera. And now the top nut is free. Here we go. And here is our washer. So this washer has four of those little, how you call it, things that you bend. Two of them has to be bent to the lower nut, and two need to be bent up to the top nut. So I bought myself this wrench, which you can set on the right size. But unfortunately that's not gonna work here because there's just not enough space for it. So I did the next best thing. I had this 36mm wrench which I used for my van, and with the help of grinder I made myself the steering stem nut wrench, which is basically this for, let's call it tooth, and they goes into the nut like that. And this is much better solution because right now I can fasten the nuts with the right torque. And first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna check which torque is this nut now fasten. So you can see the wrench fits nicely. So let's see how much torque do we have. This steering stem nut should be fastened with 28 Newton meters torque, and that is the smallest amount I can set on this torque wrench. So let's see if this nut is loose or not. Well, this nut is definitely 28 Newton meters. So I don't think I have any play on steering nuts, which makes me worry, because if I don't have play here, that means that I have play somewhere else, probably on forks. So the plan is I'm gonna loosen the nuts. I'm gonna lift the bike a few centimeters. I'm gonna remove ball bearing, and I'm gonna check the ball bearing inner race if there is no damages or any holes or whatever, if there is any damage. If it is not, and I think there is nothing wrong with it, I'm gonna just lubricate with the grease and I'm gonna put it back, because if that's not the case, there is nothing to look here. There's nothing wrong here. Okay, let's do that. So inside, as you can see, there is a ball bearing with this black thing here, and that's a simmering. So the stem steering cup, which is protecting from leakages, it's keeping tightness here on the nut. This way the water there is not leaking into the bearings. So I'm gonna carefully remove that. I'm gonna check for damages. And then we'll see what's inside. So here we go. This is my steering stem cup, and I need to check if there is no damages here. Yeah, everything looks good here. So I'm just gonna clean this. I'm gonna fish out the ball bearing. So here it is, my ball bearing. The ball bearings have this plastic ring, so they're sitting in a plastic ring. And now I need to check the rails. There's two, one is here and one is here in the steering stem. And they look absolutely fine. No, they're perfect. There's nothing to look for. Okay guys, there is nothing to look here. Everything is absolutely fine. So what I'm gonna do, I will just grease it up a little bit. And that's all what I will do here. So I'm gonna lift the bike again. And I'm gonna grease lower bearing, and then I'm gonna grease up the upper bearing. I put the blocks under my tire so that the wheel doesn't run this way, because if it runs away from me, it's gonna break the hose, electrics or anything I have here. So this way I'm safe. So steering stem is now much deeper, and I have a view for the lower bearing, so I can check the rails. There's seriously nothing wrong with it, so I'm just gonna grease it up and that's it. I'm not gonna do anything here. Now it's time for the simmering. It needs to be greased up a little bit as well. Here we go. And it is time to reassemble everything. So first the lower nuts. This one needs to be done carefully, because if the steering stem is not exactly in the middle and I'm gonna screw in the steering stem nut, I can damage the simmering, the rubber. So I need to look that it's not catching more on one side than the other. But so far so good. And of course from time to time I need to move the wheel. Just to be sure that the bearings are sitting in the right place. And basically I need to fasten my ball bearing nuts with 28 Newton-meter torque. And I'm already there. So there is not a lot of torque here. If you do it too much, it's just gonna damage the ball bearings. Yeah, I already have 28 Newton meters, so I'm not gonna do any more. Let me check off. So I'm gonna lift the bike again a little and check if steering is working properly, if there is no extreme play or extreme tightness. And there is nothing wrong with it. Everything feels perfect here. Okay, that's good. We can leave it like that. So I'm gonna put the washer and then another nut. This one theoretically doesn't have to be done with the torque. If you remember, when I was removing it, it was a bit loose. But let's try, let's see what I can get. No, that's too far. Well, theoretically I should replace this washer, because it can happen that when I'll be bending these little teeth back, they can break. I hope not. We'll see. Very good, nothing bad happened. And here as well went everything okay. Now I can install the steering stem head. Here we go. And then is it time for the big bolts. I'm gonna use a bit grease here. And this bolt, ladies and gents, needs to be fastened with 108 Newton meters. Here we go. I'm gonna lift the bike again and check again if everything is okay here. So I'm gonna install my handlebars back. I'm gonna fit them in place. So the clamps for the handlebars, they have an arrow here, which means that this side with the arrow should be on the top. Okay, let's lift the bike again just to be sure. Check again. Now the steering stem is working very smooth. There is no grinding, no weird noises or any play. So we good here. So of course now I need to fasten these bolts, and they have to be fastened with 20 Newton-meters, which is not much. This job isn't going according to plan. I was sure that I have problem with steering stem ball bearings, but that is actually not the problem. There is nothing wrong with the bearings. So I just did the check and I greased up a little bit the bearings. And in one side it makes me happy that I don't have a problem here, but that means that I have problems somewhere else. And to be honest with you, I have no idea. Probably in the front suspension, but I just don't know. So I'll have to do some more testing and trying things and try to find the problem and figure out what's wrong. Short update to the video. So I did figure out what was the problem, but that wasn't suspension. All the problems, so the speed wobble and the slow speeds, diving in the corners and the weird behavior in the corners, all of that disappear after I replaced the front wheel ball bearings. So if your Versys is misbehaving like that, you could probably check first the front wheel ball bearings. But I'm glad I did check the steering stem ball bearings. I greased them up, I checked them, and I know how to do it now. And you know how to do it because I made a video about it. So it was a learning process for everybody. Right now I have to put everything back. I removed as well the skid plate because I did change oil and oil filter. Anyways, because the bike is completely stripped, now I have a chance to clean it properly. So I'm just gonna clean everything what is underneath the fairing. I'm gonna clean the fairing. I already started, and I will start putting everything back together. So that's the plan.